Theta Black Research Facility floated at the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy. A place where even military warships were forbidden from approaching without Omega-level clearance. Because inside it, was not a weapon, but something far more terrifying than a weapon. The purple entities. A form of life suspended between matter and consciousness. They had no fixed bodies. No heartbeat. No biological signals. Yet they could tear apart a warrior's mind simply by looking into his eyes. In the galactic archives, they were called the Whisperers from the Rift. But the guards at Theta Black called them by a much simpler name. Nightmares. I still don't understand why the council allowed humans in here. Ziller tightened his four pale blue fingers. The Vex species had never liked humans. Too weak. Too slow. Too dependent on oxygen. And worst of all, too emotional. Class 7 biological species, he muttered. A minor psychic shock is enough to collapse their nervous systems. Beside him, Dr. Krivik activated the data screen. Human specimen 882, a name, Lily Carter. Gender, female. Age, 8. Ziller frowned. A child. Yes. You brought a child into Theta Black. Krivik slowly nodded. Because, the purple entities react to her. The entire room fell silent. Then one researcher laughed nervously. What kind of reaction? Wanting to eat her brain first. No one laughed after that. Because at that exact moment, every light in the lab turned red. Red alert. Red alert. Seal breach detected in chamber 4. Purple entity escaping containment. Sirens screamed through the hallways. One scientist collapsed to the floor instantly. That's impossible. Omega-class psi locks shouldn't fail. The security monitor flickered on. Something was crawling out of the darkness. It had no stable shape. One moment it resembled a giant spider. The next, it became the twisted faces of hundreds of screaming creatures. The air around it warped like melting glass. An Alpha-class purple entity. The same kind that once slaughtered a 40-man special forces team in 12 seconds. One guard trembled. It's heading toward the civilian sector. Seal the entire area. We can't. The psychic interference is crashing all locking systems. Screams erupted from a distant hallway. An engineer clutched his head and slammed it repeatedly into the wall. Blood covered the floor. He cried and laughed hysterically at the same time. It's inside my head, please get it out. Ziller's face turned pale. This was the true horror of the purple entities. They did not kill the body first. They consumed the mind. Then the cameras switched to hallway 7. Everyone froze. A little girl stood there. Lily. She wore a pale yellow hoodie. A worn stuffed animal rested in her arms. And she was staring directly at the massive purple entity. No. Krivik shouted. Get her out of there immediately. But it was already too late. The purple entity lowered itself. Hundreds of glowing purple eyes opened across its distorted body. Every single one focused on Lily. The control center held its breath. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. Then. The little girl tilted her head. Oh. She smiled. You're pretty. Ziller thought he had misheard her. What? Lily took another step forward. Are you lonely too? The entire control room went rigid. The purple entity trembled. The air warped violently. Normally, This was the sign that it was about to crush its target into dust. The guards instantly raised their plasma rifles. Fire! No! Krivik shouted. If you provoke it now, the whole lab will explode. Lily remained standing there. Small. Fragile. Weak. Facing the thing the entire galaxy feared. Then she held out her stuffed animal. Hey. Do you want to hug it? Silence. A deadly silence. Then the impossible happened. The purple entity shrank. The enormous violet mist twisted inward as though pulled by an invisible force. The screaming noises vanished. The purple eyes slowly closed. And within seconds, the monster that had stood over 3 meters tall moments earlier had become a tiny purple sphere the size of a cat. It floated beside Lily, rubbing against her cheek like a pet begging for affection. One scientist dropped his data pad. That's impossible. Ziller staggered backward. No, impossible. That was an alpha entity. A psychic apex predator at the top of the evolutionary chain. It once caused an entire fleet to shoot itself apart using nothing but whispers. And now, it was making sounds like a kitten. What the hell is this human? No one answered him. Because Krivik himself was trembling now. He opened the highest level classified archive. And for the first time, Ziller saw the red text that had been sealed for 20 years. Project Earthchild. Origin of Purple Entity Synchronization Ability. He swallowed hard. Synchronization. Krivik spoke softly. We once believed the purple entities were predators. But they're not. They are emotional mirror organisms. The screen filled with failed experiment footage. Aliens. Robots. Psi warriors. All of them torn apart by the purple entities. Why? Ziller asked. Krivik stared at Lily on the screen. Because every species in the galaxy looks at them with fear. But humans. He paused. Humans possess a very strange ability. They anthropomorphize everything. Ziller did not understand. Krivik pulled up more data. Humans give names to hurricanes. They hug venomous animals. They keep predators as pets inside their homes. They talk to machines. They even imagine the monsters under their beds as friends. Ziller's face twitched. That's not intelligence. That's mental illness. Yes, Krivik sighed. But that's exactly what makes them compatible with the purple entities. He pointed toward Lily. She doesn't see a monster. She sees a lonely creature. Out in the hallway, Lily sat cross-legged on the floor. The tiny purple sphere floated around her. What's your name? The entity trembled softly. A strange sound echoed inside everyone's minds. Shay. Lily beamed. Shat. That's nice. She patted its head. And the most terrifying part was, the entity's destruction readings were rapidly dropping. Hostility level, 0%. Psychic waves, stable. Homicidal tendency, gone. One researcher whispered. She's taming it. No, Krivik said quietly. She's making friends with it. Then everything became worse. A massive explosion shook the lower levels. Emergency alert. Seal breach detected in chambers 2 and 5. Ziller's face went pale. No. 3. Not 1. But 3 war-class purple entities were escaping simultaneously. The cameras shook violently. Gigantic violet shadows flooded through the corridors like living nightmares. One possessed hundreds of arms. One was nothing but a massive mouth filled with teeth. The last one had no shape at all. Only a purple-black void that swallowed light itself. The scientists began panicking for real. We're doomed. Activate the self-destruct chamber. There's no time left. Ziller looked at Lily. The little girl still sat calmly on the floor, watching the three approaching entities. Then she waved at them. Do you guys want to play too? The control room froze. 1 second later, the three war-class entities stopped. Completely. Like beasts hearing the voice of their master. Krivik felt ice crawl down his spine. He finally understood the most horrifying truth of all. The purple entities did not fear power. They responded to primal emotion. And humanity was the only species in the galaxy capable of staring into absolute horror and saying, "You look cute." Lily giggled as one gigantic purple entity curled around her like a massive serpent. Why is everyone acting weird? They're nice. One guard nearly burst into tears. Nice. That thing wiped out the entire Beta 12 research station. Lily blinked. Maybe nobody hugged them. Ziller began to feel like there was something fundamentally wrong with his civilization. Or rather, maybe the entire galaxy had been wrong about humans. They were not weak. Not innocent. And definitely not herbivores. They were the only species insane enough to walk into the darkness. And turn the darkness into a pet. 3 hours later, the entire Theta Black facility was silent like a graveyard. Not because of death, but because none of the staff had psychologically recovered yet. At the center of the research complex, 4 apocalypse-class purple entities lay around Lily like oversized cats. One even glowed softly while she scratched its head. Ziller collapsed into a chair, his eyes empty. What exactly have we been imprisoning all these years? Krivik answered quietly. Maybe, not monsters. Then what are they? He looked at Lily laughing and playing with the purple entities. Then whispered softly. Maybe they were just waiting for a species crazy enough to understand them. Lily suddenly turned around. Mr. Ziller. He jumped. What? The little girl grinned excitedly. Are there any bigger ones here? The entire control room froze. Then Lily added enthusiastically. I want to try riding one.